I was about to elope with Zhao YiNan when a few lines of text suddenly flashed before my eyes. The villainess is about to get offline. Great! Don't you think Sang ChuChu is too miserable? Just because the male lead looked at her more, the female lead designed her demise? Who made herself unchaste, eloping with a man? She deserves to be plotted against. I stood there in a daze because I was the Sang ChuChu they were talking about. Ding! This novel reminds you to click the subscribe button in the bottom right corner to read the complete novel. ChuChu, hurry up. Zhao YiNan, standing under the wall, urged in a low voice. I looked down, meeting his anxious gaze. The guards of the mansion will be here soon, we must leave quickly. The more anxious he was, the clearer my mind became. Regardless of whether those strange words were true or false, I couldn't gamble with the lives of dozens of people in the mansion. I steeled myself, pulled my foot back, and spoke. You go first, we will talk about eloping later. Zhao YiNan became anxious, grabbed my ankle, his eyes turning red. In 3 days, it's your wedding with the crown prince, how can you make me wait? If I have to watch you marry someone else, I would rather die. After all, he's the one I truly liked, seeing him humbly begging for love at this moment. I couldn't bear it, hesitated for a moment. Again, a few lines of text flashed before my eyes. Why hasn't the villainess gone down yet? It's driving me crazy. My Han Yen will catch them in the act soon, we can't let everyone see them being intimate, how to nail this wretch Sang ChuChu. This male side character is also useless, she won't go down, can't you just pull her down? I felt a chill in my heart. Sang Han Yen is my half-sister, she knows I like Zhao YiNan. So, when the emperor decreed my marriage to the crown prince, she came to me, telling me she fancied the crown prince and begged me to give him up to her. The idea of eloping with Zhao YiNan was also hers. ChuChu. The voice full of love came from under the wall again. I woke up suddenly, realizing my ankle was still in Zhao YiNan's hand. Afraid he might actually pull me down, I quickly spoke to soothe him. Tomorrow we will leave. Seeing his reluctance, I had no choice but to say. Today is too sudden, I forgot to pack gold and silver. I only brought 100 taels of silver notes, which is far from enough for our future expenses. Hearing this, Zhao YiNan finally let go of me, looking helpless. ChuChu, you are always so forgetful. I had no time to care for him, turned around and jumped back into the mansion. You should leave quickly, someone is coming. I heard footsteps in the distance, it seemed like many people, just the torches were several. I crouched down, followed the wall roots and quickly ran back to my courtyard. My maid Lushu came up, so anxious she was almost crying. Miss, where did you go? Just now, second miss brought a group of people, barged in without explanation, saying you were going to elope, and are now searching the mansion. The crown prince was also brought by her, this maid couldn't stop them. My eyes darkened, it was just like those strange words said. Sang Han Yen really wanted to kill me. I changed my clothes, quickly wet my hair, and applied rouge to my face to appear somewhat sickly. Lushu, go find father, say I was bathing behind the courtyard and just came back. Qingshui, boil the extra medicine from yesterday, on high heat, just to get the smell out. The maids took orders and got busy. I took a few deep breaths, suppressing my panic. Soon, Lushu came with people. I thought it was my father, the Marquis of Yolin, and went out to greet him. To my surprise, I bumped into a solid chest. I froze for a moment, looking up to see Crown Prince Gu Ziyi. He frowned, a trace of unnaturalness flashing across his cold face, holding my shoulders and pushing me slightly away. I quickly saluted him. Forgive me, Your Highness, I thought it was my father coming. 3. Gu Ziyi coughed lightly and replied, it's all right. The Marquis of Yolin caught a small thief in the backyard and is interrogating. Your maid found the front hall and only met me, so asked me to come and check. I breathed a sigh of relief. That made Lushu really smart. Bringing the crown prince to my courtyard first, when Sang Han Yen arrived, even if dissatisfied, she would have to consider the crown prince's presence and weigh her words. I covered my chest, pretending to be fragile. Your Highness, my body is unwell, I fell asleep in the bath just now, causing worry for my elders and you. Maid Qingshui came from the side room with a bowl of medicine, seemingly not seeing the crown prince, angrily speaking. Second miss fell into the water the day before. If it weren't for you saving her, she might not have survived. Today she tells father you're eloping. Like wishing you ruin your reputation and can't marry. How could anyone be so heartless? Lu Shu quickly stopped her. The crown prince is here, be polite. Qingshui was startled, the medicine in her hand spilling. She knelt hurriedly and kowtowed. Your Highness, this maid did not mean it, just pitying the first Mississippi. I timely let a tear drop, pretending to be deeply wronged. It's okay, second sister is just young and immature, she didn't do it on purpose. Gu Zai's gaze was deep, making me feel somewhat guilty. I steadied my mind, tears falling like broken pearls down my cheeks. Since childhood, everyone praised my beauty, calling me an outstanding beauty. Sang Hanyan's mother, Madame Lu, would often curse me as a seductress, saying even a glance from me could make men go through fire and water. I had always been disdainful of showing weakness to others, never thinking of using my looks for anything, nor had I ever cried in front of anyone. But now, I had no other choice. Yet Gu Ziyi kept staring at me, his eyes filled with scrutiny. He wore a black cloak, maintaining a distance from me, looking quite unapproachable and very fierce. I remembered the rumors among the common folk about him, an aloof deity. Indifferent to women, and naturally, indifferent to human relationships. Since the crown prince had been managing state affairs, even his maternal family, the Song family, hadn't gained any benefit from him. He treated everyone equally, and was fair and just in all matters. Outside, the sound of chaotic footsteps reached us. Sang Hanyan was bringing people in. Gritting my teeth, I stepped forward and directly reached out to embrace Gu Ziyi around the neck. Your Highness, please help this humble one. I will personally explain today's incident after the wedding. Gu Ziyi said that my father had caught a thief in the backyard, causing a hint of worry in my heart. When Sang Hanyan brought everyone into the courtyard and I saw Zhao YiNan behind her, my face turned pale. Indeed, my heart sank. Did Zhao YiNan not have time to leave, or did he intentionally stay? The female supporting character didn't elope with Zhao YiNan just now? If she had obediently gone with Zhao YiNan, the plot would have already developed to Hanyan catching her in adultery and then falling in love with the crown prince. What a waste of time, causing my Hanyan darling to still be up so late. What does this witch mean by hiding behind the crown prince? What happened during that black screen? I don't know either, that part was blocked out. I read each word carefully, gathering a crucial piece of information. Sang Hanyan hadn't yet fallen in love with the crown prince? In other words, she had only been infatuated with him before. I still had a chance. Bursting in with a fierce aura, Sang Hanyan's face froze at the sight of Gu Ziyi, her malicious expression dwindling significantly. She spoke in an aggrieved tone. Elder sister is already betrothed to the crown prince, why would you meet with another man? I looked at Zhao YiNan, hoping he would speak up against Sang Hanyan for old time's sake. Unexpectedly, Zhao YiNan lowered his head, avoiding my gaze, and after saluting the crown prince, said, Today, Miss Sang invited me to meet in the garden of the Marquis mansion, intending to. He paused, seemingly ashamed to say it, before finally adding. Miss Sang invited me, intending to have an intimate relationship with me. I widened my eyes, unable to believe my ears. What was originally eloping had turned into adultery, even in front of the crown prince. Laughable, the wicked female supporting character looks so incredulous. This Zhao YiNan is Hanyan's #1 bootlicker. He would willingly lick her shoes if she asked, so how could he possibly speak for that woman? Geez, I don't know whether to call the female supporting character stupid or naive, so pitiful. I clutched Gu Zai's sleeve, my fingers gradually tightening, tears falling again. Gu Ziyi glanced at me, seeming to sigh lightly. He asked me softly, his tone unexpectedly gentle. Miss Sang, do you know him? I shook my head in panic, tears streaming down. I do not know him. I do not know why second sister would insult me so. I only has affection for the crown prince. I am your wife. At this point, I could only gamble. Gambling on my good looks to soften a man's heart. Gambling on Gu Ziyi taking his reputation into account, not wanting to be cuckolded in public. Sang Hanyan was infuriated. Elder sister, you are not yet married to the crown prince. How can you say you are the crown prince's wife? I said nothing, only cried, looking at Gu Ziyi through tearful eyes, appearing as sad as a weeping willow. Gu Ziyi turned to Zhao YiNan, his gaze suddenly turning cold. Marquis YiNan. My father quickly responded, at your service. Gu Ziyi's voice was clear and cold, as he looked at Zhao YiNan as if he were a dead person. The security of the Marquis mansion is too lax, allowing any cat or dog to get in. It's bad enough that they got in, but now they openly ruin a young lady's reputation. This time, I will let it pass, but if it happens again, I will hold you accountable for management negligence. Sang ChuChu was stunned. She watched as Gu Ziyi took my hand and led me back to the house. She couldn't help but step forward to block the way. Your Highness, elder sister is committing adultery. Gu Ziyi glanced at her, speaking coldly. Shut up. I believe my future wife. Sang ChuChu turned pale, frozen in place. What is happening? Why is the male lead speaking for the female supporting character? Damn, Gu Ziyi, what are you thinking? Can't you see ChuChu's expression has changed? If you don't cherish her now, you'll regret it later in the pursuit of your wife. 6. The lines of text before my eyes kept flashing. I felt dizzy, stumbled over the threshold, and nearly fell. Gu Ziyi's strong arm wrapped around my waist, steadying me, while also drawing me closer to him. He had a faint, nice-smelling scent of sandalwood that inexplicably felt familiar. I turned to look at him, misjudged the distance, and my lips brushed against his neck. By the warm candlelight in the room, I saw his Adam's apple move up and down, seemingly holding something back. Gu Ziyi released his hand from my waist, took 2 steps back, and widened the distance between us. Miss Sang, please rest. I shall take my leave now. He turned decisively, leaving me with a tall, bamboo-like figure as his back. Does the male protagonist seem a bit like he's fleeing? I think so too. It feels like he has special feelings for the second female lead. Impossible. The male protagonist must be in a hurry to see ChuChu, that's why he left so quickly. I told you this malicious supporting female is disgusting. Did you see her look just now? It was a blatant seduction. I felt a bit tired and sat down by the bed. Outside, I could hear Sang ChuChu arguing with father, but soon the sounds faded and the courtyard fell silent. Lu Xu walked in, saw my pallor, and quickly poured a cup of hot water, handing it to me. Miss, are you cold? I'll go get a hot water bottle. Please drink some hot water to warm up. I drank the water in one gulp. The calm facade I had barely held together crumbled instantly, my hands shook, and a thin layer of sweat appeared on my back. The words that had appeared before my eyes were strange. From the moment I saw them, my mind became clearer. It felt as though all the past years were hazy, like living in a dream. Why did I want to elope with Zhao YiNan? Do I really like him that much? Zhao YiNan is just an actor. I've known him only for a few months and have met him just a handful of times. How could I have fallen so deeply in love, willing to abandon my status, my family, and elope with him? The marriage between the crown prince and me was personally decreed by the emperor. The emperor values the crown prince greatly. If he finds out that I defied his command for an actor, eloped without permission. In his anger, at best I would be exiled, at worst, my entire family executed. Even if I were selfish, I could not treat the lives of my 9 clans as a joke. Though I don't know why. Thankfully, I realized it before it was too late. Why do I feel like the malicious supporting female is getting smarter? Yeah, she used to be so foolish, doing whatever Sang ChuChu told her, but today she seemed sharp. Several more lines of text appeared. Miss, I have hot water. Please wash up. Qingxue came in with the hot water, but then knelt down crying. I beg you, please stop thinking about that Zhao YiNan. You've seen what happened today. If it happens again. I was moved and helped her up. I won't anymore. I won't think about him ever again. Qingxue, with tear-filled eyes, said, Really, miss? You're not lying to me? I answered earnestly, I'm not lying. I swear. Since heaven has given me this opportunity to choose again, I won't live as those words depict. The next morning, I went to the storehouse to collect gold and silver threads. The bridal coverlet sent from the palace was a half-finished product. I needed to embroider the dragon and phoenix pattern myself. The past few days, I had been obsessed with preparing to elope and hadn't touched the coverlet at all. I didn't want to cause trouble, thinking I would wait until after the wedding to deal with everything. But Sang ChuChu came looking for me, angrily questioning me. Why didn't you elope with Zhao YiNan yesterday? I sneered, elope with him so you can replace me and marry the crown prince? Sang ChuChu's anger flared, her face showing a bit of resentment. Wasn't that what we agreed on? You elope with Zhao YiNan and let me marry the crown prince. I put down my needlework and looked steadily at her, speaking coldly. Yes, we agreed, but dear sister, last night, you wanted me dead. Sang ChuChu felt guilty. I was just afraid you would regret it and come back to steal the crown prince from me. So I wanted to let him see you had feelings for someone else. Such a flimsy excuse, the old me might have believed it. But now, I pointed to the courtyard gate, unceremoniously. Get out. I don't want to see you. Seeing that I was determined to marry the crown prince, Sang ChuChu panicked. When father was off duty, she brought him over. Father, what I said before is true. Sister indeed had an improper relationship with that actor. She might have even lost her virginity. If she enters the palace and is found not to be a virgin, won't the Marquis household face disaster? Father frowned, his face darkened, and he scolded Sang ChuChu. How can you talk about your sister like that? Yesterday, in front of the crown prince, you slandered your sister's reputation. I haven't held you accountable yet, and today you come to me with these filthy words. ChuChu, when did you become so thoughtless? I lowered my head, playing the part of a heartbroken sister. Poor ChuChu, what's up with her father? Why doesn't he discern right from wrong and scold ChuChu? Exactly, our darling ChuChu is just speaking the truth. Sang ChuChu likes Zhao YiNan so much, she might really have slept with him. This wicked supporting character is so annoying, can't she just die early? I'm still waiting to see ChuChu and the crown prince's sweet moments. Sang ChuChu widened her eyes in shock after hearing her father's words and started to speak in a sharp voice. Father! You don't believe me? Elder sister, she really. Before she could finish, her father waved his hand impatiently and turned away. You two sisters' dispute is your own problem. I have official business to attend to. Sang ChuChu turned around to look at me with a vicious expression. I showed her a helpless look. Sorry, it seems father trusts me a bit more. After all, even the crown prince sided with me yesterday. Father always favored me a bit more. Speaking of which, what are those weird texts saying about Sang ChuChu plotting to ruin my family? She's a young lady of the Marquis residence, how would the Marquis downfall benefit her at all? Just as I was puzzled, the text before my eyes refreshed. This really proves that the Marquis YiNan and the wicked supporting character are indeed father and daughter. Poor ChuChu, what kind of miserable days does she endure at home? What's this supposed to mean? What does it mean by I'm actually the Marquis's real daughter? Could it be that Sang ChuChu isn't father's real daughter? 10. Who told ChuChu to hold the main female lead script? Suffering a bit in the beginning is normal. Later on, she will rise to the top. ChuChu's mother is really smart, swapping her child with the concubine's child, making ChuChu the Marquis' daughter immediately. The concubine who wasn't favored didn't even notice the child swap. How foolish, ha 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 ha. From a maidservant's daughter to the young mistress of the Marquis' house. And then marrying the crown prince and becoming empress, isn't that a spectacular rise? The more I read, the more shocked I became. Having no time to bother with Sang ChuChu, who was still throwing a tantrum. Feeling neglected, Sang ChuChu smashed 2 teacups before storming off in anger. I watched her back, deep in thought. Depriving others of their privileged life, this doesn't really align with the main female lead concept. I secretly had someone investigate the events of that year. Continuing to embroider the wedding veil at home. Caught a chill the day before, my body still hadn't fully recovered. As night fell, the fatigue grew, I rested early. It was the middle of the night when a heavy rain started outside the window. The sound of raindrops mixed with gusts of wind woke me up. I pulled up the quilt, ready to go back to sleep. Suddenly, lightning flashed, revealing a figure sitting by my bed. My heart was filled with terror as he quickly approached me. Another flash of lightning fully revealed his face. It was Zhao YiNan. Due to yesterday's incident, Father had increased the patrols around the residence, doubling the usual number. The Marquis residence could be said to be as secure as a fortress. How did Zhao YiNan, who has no martial skills, get in here? Seeing me awake, he quickly reached out to cover my mouth. ChuChu, don't make a sound, I'm here to take you away. What I said yesterday was just a temporary measure, you don't blame me, do you? I forced myself to calm down, merely looking at him, shaking my head. I don't blame you. I didn't know what he wanted to do, I could only stabilize him first. Zhao YiNan's charming eyes were smiling, then showing a trace of cruelty. ChuChu, don't blame me, if you want to blame someone. Then blame yourself for wanting to marry the crown prince, obstructing Han Yan's path. He reached out, roughly tugging at my clothes. ChuChu, I have no choice, I love her too much. Only by helping her deal with you will she look at me more. You like me so much, me taking your virginity tonight can also be considered fulfilling our bond. Understanding his intention, I could no longer stay calm and struggled desperately. Lu Zhu, Qing Shui. Save me. Zhao YiNan seized my hair, tying my hands to the bedpost with a ribbon. Don't shout, they've already been drugged. Tonight, no one can save you. Just at the critical moment, an arrow shot through the window, piercing Zhao YiNan's arm. I looked up in horror, seeing Gu Ziyi outside the window. The man stood tall and elegant, fingers still on the bowstring, with a face as cold as ice. Let her go, or the next arrow will take your life. Zhao YiNan gritted his teeth, clearly unwilling to miss this chance. He pulled me up, using me as a shield, then lowered his head to bite my neck. I felt sharp teeth break the skin, excruciating pain rushing through me. Gu Ziyi leapt into the room, drew his bow, and shot another arrow directly into Zhao YiNan's head, grazing my cheek. Zhao YiNan groaned, fingers weakly releasing me. I quickly moved away from him, crying as I ran to Gu Ziyi. Gu Ziyi reached out and embraced me. The arrow was slightly off, missing a vital spot. Zhao YiNan bled from his mouth, still laughing. Your Highness, will you still want a woman tainted by a lowly actor like me? What the hell just happened? How come the supporting character is in the arms of the male lead as soon as I enter? According to what Zhao YiNan meant, has he already had some sort of encounter with this vile woman? Dear hero, please don't be deceived by her. Sang ChuChu is a promiscuous woman and absolutely not a good match. Our dear Han Yan is your true destined lover. I looked up at the crown prince and saw him lowering his gaze to the wound on my neck. My heart sank. Indeed, no man can overlook such a thing. In this world, a woman's chastity is more precious than life. Even a common woman's face being touched by an outsider would force her father and brothers to push her to suicide. Such is for commoners, let alone the high and mighty crown prince. But none of this was my choice, I did not want to resign to this fate. Tears welled up in my eyes as I looked innocently at Gu Ziyi and plaintively whispered, Your Highness. Unexpectedly, the man before me raised his hand and gently touched my wound, with pity in his eyes. Does it hurt? I was momentarily stunned. Zhao YiNan had dishonored me in front of him, leaving such striking marks on me, yet he only asked if it hurt. Why does this plot seem a bit off? Is Sang Han Yan really the heroine? I'm starting to doubt it too. Why is the hero treating the supporting female character so gently? Tisk, what's there not to get? The better the hero treats Sang ChuChu now, the more he'll despise her once he learns her true nature. And to our Han Yan, he'll feel all the more indebted, naturally leading to a dramatic chase and reconciliation. Right, he's treating her well now, just for the sake of plot development. I lowered my head, allowing my tears to drop onto the back of his hand. It doesn't hurt, this concubine doesn't feel any pain. Gu Ziyi paused, his hand retracting as if scalded. I gently held that slender hand, rubbing it against my cheek, and pitifully spoke. Your Highness, don't despise me, don't abandon me. Was it really just for the plot? What if I killed Sang Han Yan and took her place? The man before me took a deep breath, suddenly appearing somewhat flustered. How could I despise you? Let go of my hand for now. I temporarily suppressed my urge to kill Sang ChuChu and obediently released his hand, supporting myself against his chest. I tried to distance myself from him but faltered back into his embrace due to my weakened state. Your Highness, I have no strength. Tilting my head back, I spoke, my breath brushing against his neck, inexplicably adding a touch of intimacy. Guzai's Adam's apple rolled, and the next second, he scooped me up horizontally. I gasped in surprise, Your Highness. Guzai strode forward, dark figures flitting past behind him, heading straight for Zhao YiNan. I watched as Zhao YiNan's mouth and nose were covered and he was dragged away in pain. Understanding that these shadowy figures belonged to Guzai, I reached to wrap my arms around his neck, resting my head against his shoulder. While walking, Guzai gently reassured me. Don't be afraid, I will take you back to the East Palace and summon a doctor to treat you. I won't let you be scarred. Feeling slightly reassured, text scrolled before my eyes again. What? Did the hero just leave with the supporting female character in his arms like that? A Princess Carrie? Are the supporting female characters so highly regarded these days? But if they go out like this, won't they run into my precious Han Yen thinking it's an affair? Oh no, will the hero scold Han Yen for this supporting female character? Calm down, Zhao YiNan, that loyal simp, would never betray Han Yen. Han Yen is so clever, she'll surely turn the situation around. My eyes flashed with a plan coming to mind. There was a commotion outside the courtyard. Obviously, Sang ChuChu had arrived with people. The door to the courtyard was forced open, and my father, with a darkened face, followed behind Sang ChuChu. How could any miscreants have infiltrated the impenetrable marquis residence to harm your sister? As Sang ChuChu spoke to my father, she headed inside. Father, trust your daughter just one more time, just this once. There must be miscreants in sister's room, we must rescue her quickly. Lu Xu and Qing Shui had long been awakened and upon seeing this, their faces turned pale. They looked at me, awaiting my command. I motioned to them to stay silent. Guzai walked out into the yard with me in his arms, coming face to face with Sang ChuChu and her people. Seeing who it was, my father was astonished. Your Highness, why are you? Sang ChuChu was stunned, looking back, directly at me in Guzai's embrace. I gave her a provocative smile. And as the crown prince lowered his gaze to look at me, I fearfully clung tighter. Your Highness, something just happened in my room, and my younger sister came with people. That person claimed he favored my sister and said she sent him to do it. Your Highness, I'm frightened. Sang ChuChu furiously exclaimed, what nonsense are you spouting? How could I be involved with this actor? I see it's clearly you wanting to consort with him. And when the crown prince caught you, you had no choice but to blame it on me. I subtly curled my lips and asked innocently. Sister, I didn't mention who the miscreant was, why are you so certain it's an actor? Sang ChuChu momentarily panicked but quickly composed herself. I said it casually, after all. Yesterday that miscreant did claim you adored him and wanted to consummate with him. I leaned into the crown prince's embrace, covering my face and sobbing. Sister is so fierce, I am so scared. Sang ChuChu was fuming, about to continue speaking. Father, unable to bear it any longer, interrupted her. Enough! A young lady like you, how can you keep spouting such indecent things? He stepped forward and bowed to Guzai. My daughter is reckless, Your Highness, please forgive her. Guzai raised his hand and simply said, my crown princess is unwell, I will take her back for treatment. If tonight's matter leaks out even a bit, I will hold you accountable. Sang ChuChu stood frozen in place, unable to believe she had failed once again. Why does it seem like the female lead has gotten dumber? No one even interrogated her, and she confessed herself. What do you know? Our Han Yen is pure, unlike someone like Sang ChuChu is full of schemes. 14. Hilarious. Sang ChuChu pure? She's already sent her lackey to assault others, and she's still pure? Ha ha ha, pure and stupid maybe, she's both stupid and evil. Hard to judge, can anyone be the female lead nowadays? If you don't like it, just leave, no one is forcing you to read, so stop judging. Exactly, if you don't like it, just go away, We love our full beauty Han Yan, alright? The lines of text flew by quickly, making me dizzy. After reading them all, I felt not only dizzy but also somewhat feverish. Gu Zi had already carried me onto the carriage. He placed me on a cushion beside him, and I felt increasingly thirsty and uncomfortable. The unbearable heat in my body seemed like it was going to engulf me entirely. The wall of the carriage was lightly tapped 3 times, and then the curtain was lifted. A subordinate whispered a few words into Gu Zi's ear. Gu Zi's expression changed and he looked at me. Are you feeling unwell anywhere? The curtain was quietly let down. The overwhelming heat nearly made me cry, and I spoke with a sob. Hot. Gu Zi stretched out his hand, pulling me into his arms and gently patting my back. Someone put an aphrodisiac fragrance in the house. Don't be afraid, I will summon the royal physician when we return to the Eastern Palace. Aphrodisiac fragrance. I was confused for a moment, then I nestled closer into Gu Zi's arms, sticking even closer to him. Your Highness, I feel terrible. 15. Gu Zi carried me into the Eastern Palace. The royal physician was already waiting inside. After taking my pulse through a silk handkerchief, his expression turned grim. Your Highness, this aphrodisiac fragrance is too strong. Even with medicine, it might not be resolved. Gu Zi's face darkened. I understand, you may leave. The royal physician obeyed and left to prepare the herbs. The next moment, my body was lifted. I opened my eyes in confusion, finding that Gu Zi had picked me up again. There is a medicinal spring in the palace. I will take you there to soak. It should help suppress it somewhat. The medicinal spring in the Eastern Palace was left by the divine physician Taishan, said to cure all poisons. It was rumored that this spring was exclusively for Gu Zi. Even his father, the current emperor, had never enjoyed it. And now, Gu Zi said he was taking me there. I felt surprised, yet also secretly glad. Beauty, indeed, is the best weapon. Even the cold and distant crown prince could not resist. I bit my lip, trying hard to suppress the restlessness in my body. Gu Zi quickly reached the place and placed me into the pool. His hand hesitated at my collar, but ultimately he did not help me take off my outer garment. I reached out, hooking my arm around his neck, pulling him down and rubbing my cheek against him. Your Highness, it's so hot. I feel so uncomfortable. Gu Zi's breathing grew heavier. The next moment, he pulled my hand away. I need to check on the medicine. He didn't dare meet my eyes and quickly turned away. No longer referring to himself as this palace, leaving in a panic. This girl is really good at seduction. I can't stand it anymore. Male lead, don't be bewitched by her. Our Han Yan is waiting for you. Your virginity must be reserved for our Han Yan. Han Yan is definitely in a hurry now. She'll probably come up with a way to catch up soon. Of course, seeing the man she fancies walking away with a woman who's been drugged. Who wouldn't be anxious? 16. Just like the words in those messages. As soon as I drank the medicine prepared by the royal physician, Sang Han Yan arrived. Though the rain had stopped, the ground was still muddy. Sang Han Yan's skirt was dotted with mud, making her look disheveled. She claimed she had urgent matters to report to the crown prince. Forcing her way into the palace despite the guards' attempts to stop her. Han Yan is finally here, that's a relief. Looks like Zhao YiNan, the lackey, has already followed Han Yan's orders and planted the falsified evidence of rebellion in the supporting female lead's room. This vicious supporting female lead is truly hard to kill, causing so much trouble, so annoying. Falsifying evidence of my father's rebellion? Yes, if the messages are to be believed. Sang Han Yan could end up with the crown prince, and he would pamper her endlessly. When she framed me and my father, she could simultaneously reveal she wasn't really the marquis daughter. With the crown prince's protection, and since she wasn't my father's biological daughter, she could avoid the death penalty that would usually destroy a family. Fortunately, the person the crown prince cares about now is me. I took off my outer garments, and when Gu Zi came in again to check on me, I grabbed his hand. Your Highness, I'm a bit cold. Would you come down and hold me? Gu Zi hesitated, about to refuse. I pretended to slip, cried out in surprise, and pulled him into the water as I leaned back. Concerned that I might hit my head, Gu Zi hurriedly pulled me up. In the process of pulling, my clothes became loose, revealing my springtime charms. Gu Zi's breathing became slightly erratic. He reached out to tidy my clothes and spoke in a hoarse voice. "ChuChu, you don't have to do this. I will handle everything for you." I froze in my actions, my heart pounding wildly. What did he mean by "I don't have to do this"? Could he have noticed my deliberate seduction? Gu Zi embraced me, not too forcefully, in a very gentle manner. His embrace inexplicably made me feel secure. "ChuChu, don't force yourself. You are to be my future wife. Protecting you is what I should do." When Sang ChuChu entered, she only saw Gu Zi holding me, kissing me tenderly. Facing her directly, I saw the jealousy buried deep in her eyes. "Sister, you haven't married the crown prince yet. How can you be so shameless?" With those words, she ignored me and turned straight to Gu Zi. "Your Highness, I have found evidence that my father, Marquis YiNan, intends to rebel." My heart went cold, killing intent rising within me. "Sang ChuChu, can't you wait? Aren't you afraid the crown prince hasn't fallen for you, won't protect you, and will let you be condemned along with the Marquis household?" Oh, wow. Why did Han just blurt it out? They haven't even established a relationship with the lead male. It's hard to tell who will die first now. This female lead is really dumb. Gu Zi stopped kissing me and spoke coldly. "Sang ChuChu, breaking into the Eastern Palace at night and slandering a court official. Execute her on the spot." Everyone was shocked by his words, "Execute her on the spot." I couldn't help but look up at him, but he lowered his head to kiss my forehead. "ChuChu, don't be afraid. I'm here." Several secret guards appeared and dragged Sang ChuChu away. Sang ChuChu screamed, "I am the daughter of Marquis YiNan, how dare you kill me directly?" Gu Zi laughed lightly. "Just a servant's child." He waved his hand, saying coldly, "Take her away." I couldn't help but shiver. Gu Zi noticed and gently stroked my back. "ChuChu, I have avenged you. Are you happy?" Gu Zi said he had long been aware of the strangeness of this world. It seemed everything was moving in a fixed direction. Many things he could clearly change, but the final outcome was always the same. Like when he was 6, he saw the poison in his mother's bowl and told her not to drink it. That night, his mother suddenly died in front of him. Then, when he was 8, I fell into the water with Sang ChuChu. He clearly held on to me. But the next moment, the one he was holding became Sang ChuChu. On the night of our wedding, Gu Zi confided in me. "ChuChu, I liked you for a long time. But every time I tried to get close to you, that person would become Sang ChuChu. Seeing her so often, my memory even started to blur. To prevent myself from losing control, I had to keep my distance from you. I watched you like a maniac, falling for that actor, and then crazy wanting to elope with him." Gu Zi held me tightly, murmuring, "ChuChu, I was so scared. I thought it was my seduction that worked, but he was willingly sinking into temptation." Before my eyes, the words flashed by segment by segment. The female lead was so easily killed? No resurrection? Listening to the male lead, did he know he's a character in a book long ago? Has he become self-aware? And the strange behavior of the female side character in the past few days. Has she also awakened? Cry, my poor Han. Not watching anymore. Without Han, what's the point? Hey, don't cut the connection. We still want to watch. If you cut off, we won't be able to connect anymore. Cut off. If I can't have my favorite CP, you can't have yours too. In an instant, a large blank space appeared before my eyes. The next second, all the chaotic words were cleared away, and I blinked only to see Gu Zi's anxious face. "ChuChu, did I say something I shouldn't? What's wrong, ChuChu? Can you still hear me?" The always cool and aloof crown prince actually shed tears in front of me, his voice hoarse. "ChuChu, don't leave me. I will never speak of this again. Please, don't leave me." His eyes were red as he once again embraced me, pained. Don't punish me like this. As long as you live, I'll do whatever you want. My consciousness returned. I lifted my hand, hesitated for a moment, and finally gently stroked his back. Your Highness, I'm okay. Gu Zai's body stiffened. He released me and looked me over carefully, then his eyes filled with immense joy. Hot kisses fell on my lips, and all I could hear was his repeated calling. ChuChu. In my free time, I gathered the events of recent days and made a summary. The world I was in was a storybook. Everyone has a fixed trajectory, and every story revolves around Sang ChuChu, the heroine. Gu Ziyi is her leading man. And I am just a stepping stone on her road to success. Gu Ziyi, due to some fortunate coincidences, managed to avoid interference from Sang ChuChu. And I, thanks to some inexplicable texts, regained my clarity of mind. Every story revolving around Sang ChuChu, after she was killed, returned to its proper course. The household is harmonious, the world is at peace. I became Gu Zai's wife, but to be honest, I don't really like him that much. After all, I had been under control for many years. And all my happiness, anger, and sorrow were not really my own. Gu Ziyi gave me enough space. He said, ChuChu, I love you, so I don't want to force you. You can be yourself, and I will always be behind you. I packed my bags, disguised as a young soldier, and went to war with my father, Marquis of Yonan. I wanted to see the world and also find my true self.